Welcome to the It's Your Fate podcast. Conversations to guide your steps and light your path in deciding your definite major purpose. I'm your host, Lefford Fate. Hello, this is Lefford Fate, and in this series of 17 podcast episodes, which is hosted by my good friend and colleague Mike Saunders, you're going to learn about the principles to a positive mental attitude.
Well, welcome back, guys. Today we have with us Napoleon Hill certified leader Lefford Fate talking about principle number 8, which is enthusiasm. Lefford, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mike. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well today.
Doing awesome and really looking forward to covering this principle with you, enthusiasm, because I know that this is a super important one, and I've, of course, read Napoleon Hill's work and even some of the other writings like Frank Bettger, who talks about enthusiasm. So this is such a really big principle, and I would like to ask, what makes it relevant for today especially?
Well, I think what makes it relevant today for me is that we have to really want to do what we say we want to do. So many people, I think, Mike, are doing things because their parents want them to do it, because their friends want them to do it, because their spouses want them to do it, because that's what the society says you want to do. But when you do it that way, you're kind of only doing kinda. When you're enthusiastic about something, you're doing it because you want it. It's your heart's blood, and it matters to you. And when it matters to you and you put your definite major purpose and you put enthusiasm behind it, then you can get it done. And we need people that are passionate about what they do.
Yeah, and I feel that if you were to ask social psychologists today, what is some of the biggest influences on society, I feel like misdirection, I feel like stress, these types of things would be some of the prevalent answers. And so do you feel like enthusiasm along with major definite purpose really kind of helps combat some of those?
I do, because, for me, and we've talked about this before, I'm a person of faith. So to me, enthusiasm, it comes from the Greek. In theos, is from within. So it's the God within you, the energy, the inspiration within you trying to get out. So I honestly think that we'd have a lot less problems and issues in the world if people were more enthusiastic about what they wanted or needed to do. If you're not sure that you're doing the right thing, if you're not happy about what you're doing, if you're just, again, doing it because somebody's dragging it out of you, it's hard to be enthusiastic. It's hard to put your best foot forward. And so I think one of the things that would make a person better off if they got behind something that they really wanted to do and just play all out.
Yeah, kind of go big or go home, like you hear her say so many times.
Yeah, especially, hey, March Madness especially. And you can tell with many of the teams that are playing ball right now, if you only there just to be in the dance, you're not going to be successful. The people that really want to win, to put themselves out there, die for the loose balls, go all in, those are the people that are going to end up winning in the end.
I feel that sometimes if someone were to hear the word enthusiasm, that they could have some misconceptions about the word, about the intent behind it. Let's speak to the misconceptions, because I want to make sure that we're dialing everyone into exactly what Napoleon Hill would say enthusiasm needs to be in your life.
Well, I actually think there's a couple of misconceptions out there, and one of them is sometimes you wake up and you think, I don't feel like it, right? I don't feel like it. I think that you have to act your way into feelings instead of waiting for the feelings to show up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
To be enthusiastic, you act enthusiastic. To be happy, you act happy. It's putting yourself in that state. I'm a TED speaker, but one of my favorite TED Talks is Amy Curtis. She does the Superwoman or Wonder Woman pose. You can act your way into something before you really feel it. So I think that's a huge misconception, that you got to wait to feel good to do good.
Now, I've not heard that TED Talk, but I'm familiar with that concept of the superhero pose. Does she talk about, or do you know about, the actual physiological effects that go on in your mind and body when you are in a pose like that, a confident pose like that?
Yes, meaning that when you do the confident pose, it's your physical state determines your body. We are a mind-body connection. We're not just a body. We are a body with a spirit and gifted with intellect. So you change your physical state, you could change your emotional state. You change your physical state, you could change your intellectual state. There was studies done where a person put a pencil in their teeth, and they have those pencils in their teeth, and it pushes a smile.
Yeah.
Versus if you put a pencil in your lips, where that pushes a frown. You behave and you feel differently just based on changing that particular state. So I actually think you act in the way that you want to do. You force your way. I call it a mind hack. And I've done a lot of mind hacks in my life where I wake up and say, I'm going to be happy and enjoy today. And because I make a public declaration and I start walking that thing out, my day is a better day because I'm enthusiastic about it. It's not like, woe is me. It's like, whoa, I get to do this.
It's like, whoa, it's me.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question
I'm going to steal that, Mike. That was great.
Okay, good. You can have it. Here's a question on what you just said. You said, I'm going to have a wonderful day. Do you feel like people that are not as familiar with these types of mind hacks and affirmations need to get so detailed as to, because I know that someone would say, no, you said it wrong. Don't say I'm going to. You say, today is a great day in the present tense. But I feel like you can get too detailed and people can get frustrated with, good gracious, I'm going to have a good day is a positive phrase. Why do you have to get so detailed about it? Do you think that people just need to have that good positive mindset with enthusiasm, or get too, in the weeds with, I said this word in the wrong tense?
You know what? That's funny because I hear it all the time and I see people do that. It's the feeling. It don't have to be perfect. Yeah. Jim Rohn used to say, some people get so caught up in studying the root that they don't pick up the fruit. There are times to study the roots, but if I can say it with my Georgia slang and I feel really good about it, I'm going to go with that versus saying it perfectly for somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And something else
I think you're right on with that.
Yeah. And then as you get more acclimated into that, maybe potentially you can put a little polish here or there. But for starters, for first steps, I think you get into that good feeling with enthusiasm. And, we're talking about misconceptions. One that I wonder about, I don't know whether this is one you've seen or experienced before, but I wonder if people feel like enthusiasm is rah, pep rally, excited, and you're just around someone that's just almost bouncing off the walls, and it's just overboard and too much. Is that something you hear from time to time, people saying, I'm just not that kind of person? Well, maybe that's not what you need to be.
Right. I hear that, and that's funny. That's like the twin sister of the other misconception. The other misconception, I think, is that you can be rah in positive affirmation and not put into work, because faith without works is dead. So I think you're enthusiastic and you put action behind that enthusiasm. So this ties in really well. You can be as enthusiastic if you want and you just sit on your bum and not go do anything. It's not going to grow. It is enthusiasm with a definite major purpose and take definite action towards something that you want to do with a burning desire. I mean, there is a formula to success, and that is walking it out. Does that make sense?
It does. It's kind of like, knowledge is power is a nice phrase and it sounds good, but it's really not the truth. Knowledge is potential power. You got to do something behind it. And if you remember that old movie called The Secret about, the law of attraction, there were some truths into that, but what the big downfall was, some people thought you can just sit around with watching TV saying, I'm attracting positive things, and where's my Mercedes-Benz in the driveway? No, you have to go out there and do something about it. So they were leaving a lot of blanks there. So yeah, being enthusiastic, that's excellent. Get you a good start to the day, but now go out there and do something about it and do something with it.
Right. I think that's the misconceptions that many of us find is just it's not a either or, it's a yes and. I mean, I think you're enthusiastic, and then you go do something about it. And I'm going to talk about this a little later, but the big law of momentum for me is when you think positively, and then you do positive acts, which makes you feel more positive. Then you think you can, and then you go do more, and then you see the results, and then you start doing more, and then you start seeing other results. Yeah. So it's a vicious upward spiral because you're actually doing something with those thoughts and feelings and behavior.
Yeah, and we see that all the time. I couldn't agree more. You see that all the time in like let's talk about leadership and management, and you see one of your subordinates doing something wrong, and you could just blast them, or you could watch for ways they're doing something right and guide them to and encourage them and give the positive affirmation on that so that you get more of that. And then probably that wrong thing, a nice little gentle nudge. But I think that what you just said there is you see a little bit of a good positive with using your implementation toward the positive mental attitude, definite major purpose with enthusiasm. And you feel like, you know what, that kind of worked pretty good here. I feel good about that, and you want to do more because you always want to do more of stuff that makes you feel good.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I talk about all the time with raising kids, working as a leader, is you reward people for the good things they do, and they will do great things for what you reward them for.
Yeah.
So whatever you want them to do more of. I always tell a joke about when my wife Jody and I first started dating. I had this gray shirt with a little small white collar. And I remember she walked up to me and she rubbed across my shoulder and she was like, I really like that shirt. Mike, I went out and bought 10 other shirts just like it. They were just different colors. Yep. So for me, she changed my behavior based on her response to something I wore. So I wanted to keep getting that reaction. Let's just say I was quite enthusiastic about impressing my wife with the way I dressed, and that is truth. You reward what you reward, and that will be reward to you.
So many times in our own life, we find ourselves kind of slogging through a period, and then we discover some way to get through that. And it makes me wonder, did you notice a time in your life where you were not applying enthusiasm, and then maybe you started implementing this and you started learning it and seeing some of these positive changes? What did you see in your personal and business life?
Well, I mean, it's really funny. I was a very successful military man. I retired as the command chief of 20th Fighter Wing, premier F-16 wing in the world. I was top 1% of the top 1% as the command chief. That's the distinction. But when I got out of the military, I didn't speak civilian. I was really nervous about that transition. It was a little rough. And so I went to Toastmasters to learn how to speak civilian. Initially, when I started out, I was a little bit shy, and because I didn't speak like normal people in the civilian sector spoke, so I was a little nervous. So what I found myself doing was just doing it afraid and doing it anyway. And then I started to get better. I started speaking, and then I started training, and then I started coaching, and I started to gain that more momentum. And as I did more of it, I felt better about myself. And a couple of people say, you're pretty good, or if you did this, you'd get better. And so I did that. And it was just like, again, the vicious cycle. The more I did it, the better I got, the more enthusiasm and passion that I had, more people, it resonated with people, and I connected with more people. And then I started to grow. Now, even I have a full-time position with the city of Sumter, but I also am a speaker, trainer, coach. I travel around the U.S. I'm going to Sweden this year to speak at an event there. So it was just being enthusiastic, learning, studying, and grew. And as I grew, the momentum built, and then I felt better, and I do better now. So it was extreme. Enthusiasm changed my life when it came to being a speaker.
And one thing that stands out at what you just said was you wanted to achieve that next level of speaking civilian, but guess what you did not do? You didn't go Google something and try to find it out on your own. You went to some organization, and in your case, Toastmasters, but you went somewhere that you knew had a proven plan.
Exactly. And one of the things that happened, Mike, is that success leaves clues. When I went to Toastmasters introduced me to other leaders and other leaders and other speakers and other trainers, because you don't have to know the end of the destination. Sometimes you just have to take that next step, and that'll lead you to a next step, and that'll lead you to a next step.
Yeah.
So just starting the process, if you keep moving and keep looking for growth, there are a lot of opportunities out there.
And, as a Napoleon Hill certified leader, I know you work with clients. Can you think of some example, without mentioning details, of how you worked with someone that was experiencing kind of the same thing you did, and what did you do, and how did they come through that, and now they're experiencing some of the fruit of implementing their enthusiasm into their day?
Well, I won't go details, but I want to call out a name. And both of you and I know Don Fussett. Don Fussett he was an airman, he was a policeman. When he wanted to get into professional speaking, a chief master sergeant friend of mine introduced us, and we got together and started talking on the phone. And I actually coached Dom into going out and becoming a speaker and going to Toastmasters and joining the John Maxwell team. So I talked to him to have him more enthusiastic about what he can actually do and not worry about what the naysayers were talking, to whatever you really want to do. What's your definite major purpose? Decide that, and then go do it and go all in. And to me, Dom is he was good anyway, but I call him my success story because he actually left his corporate job and went out to wrote a book with you and became a professional speaker. And he's traveling around the world speaking now. And that's strictly because he decided that he was going to do it, and he put a burning desire behind that.
Yeah, he didn't know what he didn't know. You probably guided him into some of these things to show him what could be reality, and then it was always in him, and it just came out because he had that focus and unleashed it. And I think that's what's true of many of us. We've got stuff inside of us that we don't even know until we start taking that first step and that next step and then the next step after that.
Exactly. That's why I think coaching is so very, very important. I am who I am now because of mentors and coaches and leaders in my life. Because even when I didn't think I could, somebody else was there thinking I could. And that's why I like to say I do mind hacks. Sometimes I believe in myself when other people don't, and I surround myself with people who think highly of me even when I don't, and so they encourage me. So it's very important to do that.
We're talking about enthusiasm, and we've brought up some excellent points and some great breakthroughs that people can experience. What I'd like to close with is, what's a what's the next step? What's an implementation, maybe an action plan that someone can say, okay, this all sounds good, but I don't want to let it go into just something that's just a great idea. How can I start making some steps to implement this in my life?
Perfect. Bottom line, first thing you do, you got to adopt a major, definite purpose for your life. What is it that you want to do? What is your dream? And I tell people this all the time. It doesn't matter how fantastical your dream is, dream. Because most people, and it's accredited to Les Brown, but most people don't miss in life because they aim too high. They aim too low and they hit. And many people don't even aim at all. The next thing is back that purpose with a burning desire and stoke that fire. You want it, but you got to make that a white hot heat. Read books, read magazines, listen to motivational things so you can keep stoking that fire so it's on burn. Write that purpose out. The third thing is you write your purpose out, put it in front of you, put it on your computer screen, put it on your phone, put it on your mirror. I have these affirmations in my phone on my desktop, so I have stuff that keeps coming out all the time that says, hey, be the best speaker in South Carolina, be a good husband, be a good father. I keep that, I write it out, and I keep that stuff in front of me. I repeat and memorize the things that I want to get out of my life. One of the hacks that I do, Mike, is I tell people what I'm going to do, because I got some friends that if you tell them what you're going to do and you don't do it, they're going to clown you. They're going to come at you until you do it. So find that person that you could tell. Stay away from negative people. Stay away from negative people. It's hard, but this is the deal. If you hang around with one negative person and you tell that person what you want to do and they pull you down, they tell you that you can't do it, that you'll never survive, it's going to hurt your chances of being successful. And I always say you ask for 5, but always give an extra. The sixth one is find yourself a cheerleader. Who is that person that got your back, that will tell you, you can do it? Find that person. And the best way, I think, Mike, to find that person is to be that person for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, Lefford, thank you for the bonus one, by the way, but this has just been a spectacular session on enthusiasm. Thank you so much. And again, what is the best way that people can reach out and connect with you?
The best way to reach me is LeffordFate.com. That's LeffordFate.com. The cool thing about having a unique name, Mike, is that I'm the only one with that. And if you reach out to LeffordFate.com, I'm a coach, speaker, trainer. I'm there for you. Even if I'm not the one, I have a network of people that are writers, trainers, teachers that I can connect you to, because I just think this whole world is a village, and all of us get together to help each other out. So reach out. I'll be there for you. And that's how to reach me, my friend.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lefford.
You've been listening to the It's Your Fate podcast. To connect with me and pick up a copy of one of my books, please visit www.leffordfate.com. That's leffordfate.com. You've met your fate. Now let's walk into your destiny.